They said to be kind, to be open, to be vulnerable, and you listened. You had their deceptions cover your mind like syrup, sweet and reassuring, until you gobbled weakness like it was virtue. They said that kindness was power, but tell me, what has that deception cost you? While you offered open hands, the wolves sharpened their teeth. As you waited to be treated, they stole from you without permission. This world is not one of mercy, it devours the vulnerable, and you're still bleeding in the street, still expecting someone to see your wounds and have pity on you. Mercy is not something the powerful speak. Respect is not created from visible wounds. It is sculpted from control, from silence, from the ability to relinquish the emotional script you were issued at birth. They conditioned you to be the servant. They instructed you to wait for permission to rise, to be approved of before being able to act, to ask before you could overcome. You were presented with a structure designed to keep you tame, predictable, obedient, and you obeyed like a good dog. But powerlessness to loyalty is slavery. That emotional script you were taught, the one that instructs you to always explain, always say, always relate, it's the virus in your system. It needs to be flushed out, because no king comes to power by consensus. He comes by design, by fire, by force. No savior is arriving, no mentor with all the answers, no lover who will kiss your wounds and make you whole. This is your war, and it's waged in silence, in isolation, in strategy. If that makes you feel isolated, good, that isolation is your wake-up call. Subtract, chasing comfort, as if it's your right. Add, calculating, as if it's your sole weapon, because it is. This isn't healing. This is total destruction of the old you, the one who waited, doubted, hesitated. He dies today, and out of the wreckage, you will emerge, not as a better man, but as a different type of man. The man who understands that power is taken, not given. The man who understands that being soft has a cost, and you've paid it for long enough. They will try you out. They will misinterpret you. Let them. Bafflement is your disguise. Let their misconceptions be their stumbling block. You are not here to be heard. You are here to be impenetrable. Your silence is your sword. Your calmness is your shield. You have to become the man nobody can anticipate. The man who does not ask for a seat at the table because he is creating his own, and that begins now. Burn the map that was issued to you. It was presented by cowards, the ones that instructed you to be moral only when it benefited them. Be good, be kind, be loved, but only if it kept you small and you listened. What has it gotten you? Rejection, confusion, impotence, cloaked in hypocritical nobility. You now have to replace it all. Your thinking, your responses, your sense of self. There is no trace of the old person left. Your beliefs were planted by individuals who required you to be tame. Your responses were conditioned by those who profited from your obedience. That part of you, he was built to be utilized. He wasn't meant to get up. He was boring, forgettable, palatable. Burn him. Scrape his skin off your bones and reassemble from steel, because you can't lead when you're still afraid to be disliked. You can't rise if you're still hooked on being liked. Remove the artificial confidence. Remove the need for validation. Cleanse the aspirations you watered down so others could be at ease. You don't require equilibrium. You require revolution. And revolution is brutal. It is unforgiving. Weak men attempt to change without hurting, without sacrificing. Strong men, they eliminate everything. They begin at zero with wide open eyes and sharpened blades. This isn't about mending. This is about replacing. You do not fix old code. You incinerate it to ash. Your comfort zone, a coffin lined with convenience, padded with your squandered potential. The flame within you, sense it, that feeling of unease, that constriction in your chest. It is not an issue, it is your cue. Your body recognizes that it is time to shatter the casing. Cease coddling your frailty like a pet. Crush it, because rebirth does not seek permission. It bursts forth. And if you don't break the shell, it's your tomb. Here, death is not always physical. It's sometimes a life that never came to be what it was supposed to be. Your first command, Erase the man you've been trained to be. Carve that in stone. Repeat it until it becomes a breath. My old self is ash. You're not here to survive. You're not here to get better. You are here to build a new kingdom and sit on a throne, hammer forged in self-discipline. You are here to become the designer of your dominance, because power isn't boisterous, it is measured. And you've cried emotionally for free for too long. That ends here. From this point on, you are a Volt, a gun without a trigger, except when it is useful. No response is your new norm. You won't flinch, you won't strike, you will observe, you will compute, you will let others shatter, and then you move. Your control is not weakness. It is war, the war of immobility, the war of silence. You will be taught to utilize your emotions as a general utilizes troops, exactly, deliberately, mercilessly for error. Your anger is your fire, not fuel. Your fear is a warning light, not a stop sign. Your sadness, that's a depth charge. Utilize it to hone, not sink. This world trains men to be emotional so they can be manipulated. But you will construct walls, not wounds. You will think in chess, not checkers. 5 moves ahead, not 5 seconds late. You will be the man who cannot be read, and thus cannot be controlled, because the man who responds loses. The man who is provoked is owned, and the man who is owned will always be beaten. Your new rule: if it provokes you, it owns you. Remediate that, or get used forever. From now on, you are your own handler. Learn to control your expression. Learn to control your tone. Learn to control your pauses. That half second before you open your mouth, that is your new sword. Use it. It slashes better than anything you say thereafter. You are silence behind the storm. You are the pause before the blow. You are the man who speaks only after words construct empires. There's a piece of you you've hidden away, a shadow you were told to be afraid of. The fury, the flame, the hunger, you put it away to be loved. But that shadow is not a curse. It's a fuel. It's unforgiving, bitter, charged, and it's waiting. Stop stifling. Begin unleashing that darkness within you, the one that recalls every slight, every betrayal, every time they underestimated you. That's not weakness. That's your foundation. That's your fuel. You don't break it. You train it. You tame it. You point it. Each hurt you've fled from, each failure you've tried to erase, peel them, build on them. This isn't healing through peace. It's pushing through pressure. The man who has reconciled with his darkness can't be broken by it. And the man who doesn't pretend to be clean, he's the one that shatters when tested. You'll be the man who has sat with his demons and made them soldiers. Be frightening, not dangerous. Be cutting, not mushy. The world doesn't need your innocence. It admires your self-control. Power reserved is what rattles the room. Not show, not hullabaloo, but presence. Look at you, not the smile you wear, not the mask you put on. Look deeper. There's a hunger behind those eyes. That part of you, he doesn't crave applause. He craves conquest. He doesn't need validation. He cares about mission. Give your darkness purpose, and you become untouchable. You become the presence that changes the room without a word. You become the force that even the loudest men know to fear in silence. Stop hiding from that power. Bring it into the light. Command it, mold it, harness it, dominate through it. Sharpen your instincts like knives. Guard your purpose like a castle. Weak men are afraid of their darkness. Strong men command it. You've got a battle to fight, and just light will not take you there. So call upon the part of you that will not break. Tell it and mean it. My darkness listens to me. You are not here to hide from pain. You are here to arm yourself with it. You are not here to be explained. You are here to be felt, not merely viewed, but felt, even in quiet, particularly in quiet. The majority of individuals flounder through existence with open eyes and closed minds. They respond, presume, talk, and reveal, not you. You will condition your mind to watch as a sniper. No movement wasted, no emotion wasted, no shots wasted. Each twitch, each pause, each sidelong glance when one speaks the truth. It all reveals something. You're not here to be seen, you're here to see. As you enter a room, you are the ghost in the corner, the shadow in the silence. You don't hop to the conversation, you observe. Who's nervous? Who's pretending to be strong? Who interrupts the silence too quickly? The insecure overdo, the weak attempt to overpower with sound. You remain silent, you allow the performance to proceed, and you observe the masks fall with each sentence they utter. Because true power speaks not, true power does not bark. It listens, it computes, it waits for the perfect moment, when one word becomes a weapon. Cease needing to be liked, begin to need to be aware. Patterns are your truth and not promises. Observe the way they talk, not what they say. Loyalty isn't what they say, it's what they utter when they think you're not looking. You need to be fluent in tension, in micro-expressions, in changes of energy. Learn the distinction between a smile and a smirk, between agreement and submission. Most people telegraph their weakness as they beg to seem strong. You're not paranoid, you're accurate. You're not cold, you're calculating. And the longer you take to respond, the longer you hold back, the more advantage you gain. Because while others show their hands in a grab for approval, you're unfathomable. And what can't be read can't be used. This isn't manipulation, it's survival. In a world of masks and agendas, you either learn to play the game or get played by the game. Say it. I see what others hide. That's your armor. That's your edge. You enter in silence, but you observe everything. You were instructed to be yourself. But that was advice designed for men who wish to remain soft. Nobody rises by staying the same. The truth, masks are the norm. You have to be who the moment requires you to be, not who your comfort dictates. Authenticity is a luxury. Adaptation is survival. Machiavelli once stated, "A wise man must imitate both the lion and the fox. Become both, but never show either. Play virtue when observed, release ruthlessness when in private. Be generous in appearance, be exact in action. If you desire to dominate the present, control your image. Allow your smile to soothe. Allow your silence to frighten. Allow your presence to say what words never can." This is not pretending. This is creating your legend. You are not a character. You are a brand. You are an identity shaped by discipline and projection. Nobody reaches for the sky, displaying their true hand. Nobody becomes king without shadow. Tell them what they desire, then do what you have to do. Keep them in suspense. Keep them at peace. Give them illusion. But always, always keep your blade sharpened. You don't lie. You play because the man who can play in any room is the most dangerous man in the room. Every place you go is a stage. In the office, be the charming sidekick until you need to take charge. In negotiation, be the dupe until the game shifts in your direction. In combat, appear to be an emotional wreck. When strategizing your triumph 3 moves down the road, manage the way you're perceived, and you manage the way others move. Never show your core. Make them show their hand first, then attack. Talk less. Make others make assumptions. Reflect their energy when necessary. Break it when tested. Your masks are not lies. They are strategic equipment. They guard your truth and reveal theirs. Predictability kills. Mystery survives. When they proclaim, "I am who I am," know that is a man already trapped by his conditioning. You are fluid. You are fire and water. You come in as a clean slate and become precisely what propels you ahead. That is power. That is the art of subtle mastery. You don't have to be liked by everyone. You don't have to make them get it. You need results. You need control. When they love you, be gracious. When they envy you, shut up. When they fear you, let it grow. Never correct them. Never explain. Power is perception. Make yourself rare. Make yourself precise. Select 3 masks. The diplomat, the phantom, the king. Master them, wear them, utilize them, shed them only in solitude. Your inner world is still sacred. Your outer world is always strategy. Repeat it now. I wear masks to rule. You don't play fair, you play well. And a part of playing well is becoming a master at boundaries. You don't grow by being available. You grow by being selective, scarce, and unyielding. Each time you say yes when you mean no, you are selling a fragment of your power. Each time you justify your decisions to someone who has no right to your truth, you water down your value. Boundaries are not selfish, they are holy architecture. They are walls that guard the empire you're creating. Most men possess none, and thus they're drained, depleted, disrespected. But you will no longer exchange access for acceptance. From now on, no is your first language. No explanation, no guilt, no apologies. If a person is upset about your boundary, it is because they were getting something out of your lack of one. Good, make the parasites leave. Make the users drift away. Make the dependent ones weep. You are not a crutch. You are a fortress. And fortresses do not yield because someone is knocking too loudly. You don't need peace with everyone. You need power over your own life. And power requires space. Power requires limits. The people who refer to your clarity as cruel are simply afraid of confrontation. But confrontation is not cruelty. It is honesty. It is clarity delivered with calm finality. Audit your circle. Observe carefully who is sucking the life out of you, who's asking without giving, whose sense of entitlement comes wrapped in politeness. These are not friends, they are burdens. Cut them strategically, not emotionally. You're not operating a motel, you're constructing a kingdom. And only those who contribute discipline, loyalty, or vision are worthy of entry to your inner gates. Even then, doors remain shut until they prove themselves repeatedly. Your time is precious. Your time is your own. Your presence is earned. Let the people question where you disappeared to. Let them miss you, because silence is heavy. Scarcity commands respect. No one is worthy of entry just because they know your name. This is your masculine duty to protect your empire like a general will guard a border. You don't have to yell to set the line. A gentle no in a look is louder than a yell. Practice it. Say it without tone, without apology, without flinching. And when they resist, as they will resist, hold. Because your task is not to collapse under guilt. Your task is to make it plain. This man does not give, not for comfort, not for history, not for anyone. Say it and mean it. My boundaries are law. You're not becoming bitter, you're becoming bulletproof. You're not pushing people away, you're protecting your future. From now on, your time is currency, your energy is capital, and your boundaries, they are non-negotiable. You don't build circles of comfort, you forge alliances. Friendships are emotional liabilities. Alliances are strategic leverage. You don't get to the top by building people, you get to the top by joining purpose. So ask yourself, who in your group sharpens you? Who raises your standard? Who pushes your blind spots? If the answer is no one, then you're surrounded, not supported. You don't require connection. You require contribution. You don't require bonding. You require alignment. The man who is afraid to walk alone is not ready to lead. You have to cut with finesse. Keep only those who execute your direction. You're not heartless. You're efficient. And efficiency is king. Say it now. I build circles of power. You are not a host. You are a sovereign. You are not a caretaker of convenience. You are a builder of legacy. And that legacy is defended not by compassion, but by code. Your silence is no longer an absence. It's a message, a warning that control rests quietly, that the storm observes before it hits. You are no longer among them. You are the presence they sense, the tension they can't define. You are becoming a weapon. Silence has been misinterpreted by the masses throughout time. To them, it's uncomfortable. It's failure. It's fear. But to you, it's design. It is the dialect of control. The silence before the blow. The emptiness that cries out for disclosure. The loudest mouth in the room is always the most vulnerable. He is afraid of the quiet because in it his lies starve. His voice occupies space, not because it carries weight, but because he is afraid of being overlooked. But you are not afraid. You are frightening, because your silence is not emptiness. It is calculation, observation, power leashed like a lion crouched in tall grass. You don't speak in order to be heard. You speak to displace gravity. When you speak, the air should be squeezed. The temperature would alter. People should hesitate because they've been conditioned to believe that your silence is the default and your voice is a spectacle. You are not here to occupy the slants. You are here to arm it. Every moment that you don't speak becomes a mirror. People project onto it. They expose themselves in the space that you leave empty. Their insecurities, their fears, their desperation to be validated, all of it mounts in the tension you will not dissipate. That is how silence is power. Practice speaking less, yet meaning more. Stretch pauses, make the room squirm. Dangle sentences like naked swords. And when they plead for resolution, speak only what amplifies your power. Because each unessential word is a gap in your armor. Each urge to explain is a breach in your fortress. You don't explain, you command. You don't argue, you state. You don't take space, you occupy it. And in an addicted world to noise, your silence will be thunder. Let others pursue applause, you pursue advantage. Let others speak first. Let others expose themselves. Let others attempt to impress you with magnitude while you remain quiet like a king at war council. Because when the din fades and all the cards are exposed, you, the quiet man, will already have knowledge of how to maneuver. You've taken note while they poured themselves into the room. That's not charisma, that's psychological warfare, that's high-level presence, and that is yours now. Don't confuse stillness with inaction. Don't confuse silence with retreat. Every time you keep your mouth shut, you create pressure, and when the moment to release it comes, you don't blow. You deliver with precision, with finality. You are not random because you are disorderly. You are random because you are inscrutable. That is the top predator. Not the one who growls, the one who observes, the one who waits, the one whose presence alone alters behavior. Refuse to explain yourself. Let misunderstandings exist. Let assumptions decay. You are not here to be decoded. You are not here to be emotionally digestible. You exist above interpretation. That is your position now, to be silent, rare, and studied. The man who wants to be understood opens the gates to his kingdom, but the man who is mysterious, he commands attention by standing still. So be felt, not heard. Be known without knowing. Be the riddle they whisper when you step out of the room. And now you must slay the child inside, who still hunts for pleasure like a beggar, because pleasure is the leash. It pretends to be reward, but its job is enslavement. Each time you pursue it thoughtlessly, you relinquish your throne. The world has made pleasure a weapon, affordable food, artificial approbation, perpetual diversion, all made to make lions house cats. But you are not a cat. You are a storm bound, and those bindings, they are comfort. Gentle, warm, lethal. Discipline is not a habit. Discipline is your new religion. It is not something you do. It is who you are. The man who waits, who resists temptation, who turns away from the shortcut, he becomes unstoppable. Every time you say no to what feels good right now, you say yes to the man who owns the battlefield down the road. That is the bargain. And most men will never succeed. They trade their future for 10 seconds of dopamine 10,000 times a year, and then get surprised their life is empty. Not you. You will sit in fire. You will deny the comfort addictions. You will tell no until no becomes second nature, because the kingdom you are creating isn't built of bricks. It is built of standards. And each discipline you use is another wall that cannot be broken through. The man who succeeds isn't the quickest. He is the one who can't be pulled. He demands his time, his hunger, his attention. He rises not wanting to know what feels good, but what fortifies his fortress. The gym is not vanity. It is authority. The diet is not about appearance. It is about fuel. The business is not about cash. It is about leverage. The silence is not about lack. It is about menace. All that you do now serves a purpose, and that purpose is domination. So whenever you're about to give in, recall the price. Every scroll, every binge, every distraction is a stealthy theft, not of your moment, but of your future. The kings who last are not showy, they are disciplined. Their crowns aren't gold, they are forged by habits no one notices. From 10,000 little choices that no one ever claps for. And that is your journey now. Unseen triumphs, quiet improvements, inner fining, because you no longer require credit. You require mastery. You don't grind for praise, you grind for presence, for power that emanates, not because it is observed, but because it is sensed. And each day you will be tempted. Each day a new delight will clamor for your notice, and your role is not to fight, it is to overwhelm, pass by temptation, not with effort, but with intent. You are not rejecting pleasure because you are weak. You are doing it because you are already satisfied. Satisfied with vision, satisfied with fire, satisfied with command. That is the new addiction. Discipline, precision, immovability. Say it. Pleasure obeys my discipline because now it does. And if it doesn't, you cut it. Understand this. The world does not reward restraint. It rewards consumption. But restraint is your revolt. It is your rebellion. While they binge, you accumulate. While they pursue highs, you pile legacy. While they burn up in excess, you get fireproofed. And one day, not by chance, you will enter a room and quiet it. Not because you are boisterous, but because you are irrefutable. A man who cannot be seduced. A man whose power speaks without performance. A man who has dominated himself beyond ease. That is not a dream. That is a choice made repeatedly in the dark, when nobody witnesses, when nobody applauds, when nobody comprehends. The man who becomes the storm is tempered in repetition, and each tiny, unobserved act of discipline is a stone in his throne. You were not born to pursue pleasure. You were born to use it, not to be its slave, but to make it your servant. You lay hands on it only when it is serving your cause, only when it fortifies the fortress, not a moment earlier. And when others fall into temptation, you will stand firm. You will stride through the ruins untouched, because you never constructed your kingdom upon sand. You constructed it upon silence, upon fire, upon vision, upon refusal to bow towards anything lesser of your fate. And even when you have ascended, when your silence is obeyed, when your fire is dreaded, when your fortress towers, you will not cease. Because that is the last trap, the one where you think it's done, that you've reached, that you've worked enough. That delusion is death masquerading as triumph. It promises rest, but it carries rot. You will never cease constructing. You will never cease honing. You will never cease guarding, because you know the truth. Now the throne is not a prize, it's a duty. It needs to be earned every day, protected every hour, enforced mercilessly. The power is not an ownership, it is a beat, and you keep it beating with every action of purpose, every spurning of comfort, every step taken with purpose. Say it, nothing owns me but mission. That is the ultimate law. You thought the game would be over, that someday you'd climb to some peak where all would at last relax, cash in the bank, foes quiet, respect guaranteed, peace permanent. But that fantasy, it's the most alluring deception of all. The game does not end. It changes. The instant you cease to climb, the world begins to consume what you created. Comfort is the silken assassin. It benumbs kings into softness, into pride, into decay. You do not come. You make do. You outwit. You hone. Each crown you win today will be challenged tomorrow by time, by temptation, by those who await your sleep. There are no finish lines. There is only pressure and response, evolution or erosion. You are not what you accomplished. You are what you persist in executing, even when nobody watches. Especially then, your standards must endure applause. Your accuracy needs to disregard praise. You don't require cheerleaders, you require code, something inscribed in your very marrow that does not falter when comfort calls. Something steel, something autonomous. That's the actual strength. Not flame that burns once and extinguishes, but an ongoing furnace. So what if you've done enough? double it. So what if you've outpacing your enemies? Now outpace your old self. This battlefield transforms shape daily. The threats evolve. The weapons change. The world will not be lenient on you, simply because you were powerful yesterday. Power is not a trophy. It's a pulse. It's a pattern. It's a choice, reaffirmed every time the sun comes up. You have to rise with it. You have to hold your ground, with ritual, with discipline, with standards that don't compromise. The world doesn't care about who you were. It cares about who you are right now under fire. And if your responses are stale, you will be devoured by the very game you believed you conquered. So remain alert, even when there is no immediate danger. Remain detached, even when everything feels cozy. Remain calculated, even when there is no one to applaud the effort. That's what makes kings, not corpses. The man who blends achievement with arrival starts to rot. Edge is what keeps you untouchable, and edge has to be forged every day. You don't build once, you build always. That ain't obsession, that's power management. Leave the others to retire into fantasy. Leave them to delude themselves with the myth of finally arriving. Let them deteriorate in luxury. You were not designed to rest. You were designed to rule, and ruling is not a throne that you sit upon. It's a battle you wage silently every day behind the scenes for no praise, no reward. Because you're no longer here for acclaim. You're here for domination. Accuracy is your duty. Order is your faith. Silence is your spear. That's the difference between those who are remembered and those recycled by time. But don't get movement confused with mastery. All grinders talk about their hustle, yet few sharpen, few channel their effort with finesse. It's not merely waking up early, it's what you do with that early morning. It's not lifting weight, it's developing inner strength to bear pressure without breaking. Mastery is not noise, it's quiet precision. It's consistency when the world has forgotten your name. It is momentum when the motivation has died. It is the moment you stand in front of the mirror and tell yourself, even if everything burns down, I will rebuild faster, colder, cleaner, because I am the system now. That's how you know you've turned into the weapon, when nothing external to you contains your identity, when no loss can take down the core, because the core isn't a house, it's a forge. The mindset is internal now. The edge isn't performance, it's instinct, the weakness removed. You've constructed something that cannot be taken. That's what kings are fashioned of. Not gold, not glory, but self-reliance in adversity, stillness in turbulence, concentration in flame. But even so, once you've reached untouchable, you don't rest, you don't commemorate, you reset. Because the acutest blade will get dull the fastest. You'll need to hone the edge daily, not due to paranoia, but due to precision. Because you know what rest does. It costs awareness, it costs edge, and edge is everything. A dull mind invites attack. A man who is distracted bleeds before the battle is engaged. You keep your sword out, even in times of peace. You are a ghost that moves with teeth. You are balanced, even when you seem stationary, and when they believe you're resting, you're already on the move again. This isn't madness, this is mission. You're not surviving, you're dominating, and domination takes a daily toll. You wake up not to respond, but to rebuild brick by brick, layer by layer, not because you've lost it, but because that's the cost of keeping it strong. The man who builds once and halts, he withers away, but the man who builds forever, he becomes legend, not myth, a blueprint, learned in silence, admired in spaces he never entered. But respect is not your objective. Respect is a byproduct. Your real object is inner sovereignty, dominion over the turmoil within. For that is the real battlefield, not the world nor the competition, but the battle in your own mind. The desires, the fears, the dark places, that is your last opponent. And if you can conquer that, you are invincible. That's the truth that you've been hiding from. That the enemy is not out there, it's in here. It's the gentle voice that longs to rest, to indulge, to explain, to be noticed. Murder that voice, Substitute it with a code, with laws, with a mission so strong it swamps every excuse before it develops. And when that is your standard, your minimum, your default operating system, you're free, not free from conflict, not free from servitude to feeling, not free from being manipulated, not free from compromise. So say it, I am the storm in human flesh. That is not a metaphor, it is your truth. Now you go into rooms, and the air shifts. Not because you perform, but because you occupy with intent. You no longer ask for space, you take it. You no longer seek respect, you become it. You don't show up with ego, you show up with gravity. That is the distinction, the ultimate shift. You are not here to be heard, you are here to be remembered. So now you get this is not inspiration, this is identity, not motivation but form. You are not here to play the game, you are here to dominate it, to redefine it, to reign over it. Each word you've read, each sentence you've heard, each silence you've been through, they've constructed this moment. You are no longer a man, you are will weaponized, you are pain perfected, you are silence engineered, you are discipline crowned. You have ceased pursuing peace, you've begun building legacy, you have ceased to react, you've begun to direct. You are no longer molded by others, you are the shape, you are the standard. And standards, they don't say, they demand. They don't beg, they anticipate. From this point on, you don't wish for strength. You impose it, you don't hope for respect. You demand it by presence, not supplication. You don't search for leaders, you become one. And if this map has ignited something within you, then behave like a strategist. Don't applaud, don't speak, build, relocate, enforce, cut off the noise, train in silence, rebuild in secret. Show them the outcome, not the process. Because the war is not out there, the war is in here, and with each step you take in quiet, the world will feel it in thunder. Because this isn't motivation, this is war, and every war has a ruler.